Thanks so much. Yeah, so let's get started. Let's just take a look at what we're going to look at today. I don't know how much you know about the 4Cs, but we're going to cover, a variety of things that kind of all entail what it really means. So the first thing we're just going to look at are, just some of the common small business, small and medium business acquisition and retention tactics. You're probably using a lot of these anyway, but we're going to look at these and then look at, how the 4Cs can help enhance these. We're going to look at the value of marketing models. So just talking quickly about, why would you use the 4Cs? Why would it be important to use a model like this? And then we're going to get into what the 4Cs are. And then we're going to talk about the difference between the 4Cs and the 4Ps. And then we're going to just look at some examples across both bigger businesses and smaller businesses of how they're incorporating these. So let's just start by just talking quickly about, some of the common small business acquisition and retention tactics. I'm sure that most of you are using these. Obviously the first one is email marketing campaigns, a huge one for small and medium businesses. Using your website for lead capture, as well as your blog to kind of drive traffic, through SEO. And, your social media, I'm sure, is a huge one for you. Direct mail, depending on what your business is, pay-per-click campaigns, promotions, whether it be online promotions or, in-store promotions, depending on your business. And then, of course, depending on the word of mouth and referrals from your current customers to get new customers in. So, these are all tactics that I'm sure, you're using in your business, but we're going to look at how you can incorporate the 4Cs to kind of help just enhance all of this and make it a little bit, cohesive towards like your marketing and what you need so that you can draw more customers in. So when looking at why marketing models like the 4Cs are very useful to small and medium businesses, there's a couple of reasons. The first thing is that, it allows you a chance to define your current market and its needs. So, if you're in a small or medium business, you have a lot of different things going on. You may have a really small team and you can't always, kind of focus on everything. But this gives you a chance to kind of, start at the drawing board again and say, like, who is my current market? What is its needs? Particularly if you're working on, like a new marketing plan for, like the new start of the quarter or whatever it is, it just gives you a chance to kind of reevaluate that. It also gives you a chance to look at, your methods, so the current methods that you're using to, reach your customers and kind of, say like, well, do I need to change anything about this? How can I, go about that? So it just gives you some ideas on that. Also, too, it gives you a chance to, look at, how you can explore different aspects of your business within your marketing planning as well. So, there may be certain products or parts of your business that you always market or try to target customers with, but, when you're incorporating different types of models like the 4Cs, you may see that, you can incorporate a different part of your business or a different product that, may reach the market better. So, it definitely gives you a chance to do that. And then lastly, it also just gives you the opportunity to think about how you can reach potential, new customers, so how you can reach new customer bases. So here we are with the 4Cs. So this is the 4Cs marketing model, and it essentially focuses on 4 different things. So customers or consumers, cost, communication, and convenience. So we'll go through all of these in more detail. But before we get to that, we need to talk about the 4Ps. So the 4Ps was the original 4Cs, right? So
before the 4Cs.
Exactly. Yeah. So, back when, like a long time ago in the beginning of business, really, if you think about it, with 4Ps, it's product, price, place, and promotion. So, from the start, that's what, basic business has been based on. But the 4Cs came along in a call, to say that, the market and the ideas and the way that people shop and, the way that they think about brands has changed so much that these no longer apply. So if you look at the difference between the two models as we have here, we'll just quickly go through and talk about this. So as you can see, products replaced consumers. So this essentially, means that instead of thinking about, businesses saying, okay, we have this product and people are just going to purchase it because we're selling it. It's much more about thinking about what consumers actually want and what they need and how you can provide value for that. So, that's more than anything, that's probably really, really important because that affects, like what you're going to be selling. The next thing is about prices. So in the 4 Ps, it was about prices, but in the 4 Cs, it's about cost. So essentially, for cost, it means that you're not just thinking about, how much you're going to be, placing this product at on the shelf or, online. It's much more about, what is the cost to the customer. So again, thinking about it from the customer's perspective, what is about, the cost to the customer, and not just about like the cost that the price they're gonna pay, but also too about like what it costs them to, come to your store if they have to physically go there, what it costs to them, if it's more of a moral thing, if they're going to be purchasing something that, like, do they agree with it? So, that's where the cost comes in. Then looking at place was replaced by convenience. So, it's not just about, we're selling, this product at the store. We, have it in Walgreens, for example. It's there. It's much more about, where can customers get it? Again, we've seen over time that, the way people shop, the way that they're trying to access products and, information in general has changed. So it needs to be convenient so they have immediate access to it and they can get it whenever they want. And then the last part, promotion, has been replaced by communication. So this is much more about saying that instead of just kind of, talking at your customers, you're actually talking with your customers. So instead of, kind of the one-way exchange of, here's our product, here's what we have, please buy it, here's 50% off. It's much more about, the communication, and, that includes using social media and just a lot of different ways of communicating with your customers.
Email marketing.
Email marketing, of course. So let's move along now. We're going to talk about each of the 4 Cs individually, and then for each of them, I'm going to show you examples of how some bigger businesses are doing it and then smaller businesses are doing it. So the first one we're going to talk about is consumer or customer. So if you think about it, it's sometimes called the consumer value as well. So it focuses, as I was saying earlier, on the consumer's needs and wants. So, you try and marry those two together. Of course, you're not going to please everyone, but you're trying to look at, what is the market asking for? And then, what do people also want? So kind of trying to forecast like what they want as well and what they need. So, often this includes, some type of customizable elements to it. So, it may be something where, like, for example, if you look at Apple, how, you can customize your iPad, your iPod to, like, have things engraved on it. That's just one example. But, it makes it much more of a personal touch on it. It's not just kind of a mass market, go buy it off the shelf type thing. People feel like, it belongs to them. So it's much more of a personal thing. And then also within the 4 Cs, this focuses, and it gives you the chance to focus on, talking more about the benefits of your product or your service, whatever it is, over the feature. So again, it's looking at it from, what is the customer going to get from this? What's the benefit to the customer, not just, from the business perspective, which is more features of here's what we have, this is why you should buy it. So the first example I have here is iTunes, Apple iTunes. And if you think about it from the consumer's perspective, obviously, iTunes came about right along with the iPod. And, like when it first started, they were just, selling music, like selling full albums. And then they started by, they start to look at, what are customers looking for? And one of the big things customers were looking for was to be able to, in a legal way, purchase music. But, you may not want to, for example, buy a full album. You may just like one song. So they start selling, one song, like the individual songs on albums. And then they kind of really just evolved it so that, looking more at like not just what customers need, they needed music to put on their iPods, but also too that, that, there's all these different things that you could do. You could, partner with movie companies to, sell movies. So it's like now you can buy and rent movies on iTunes as well. You can buy books, audio books as well. So thinking about, what the consumers needed, if they are going to be purchasing these mobile devices and, these devices that they're going to be using on the go, you need to give them something there that they can access. So, again, it's very consumer focused, very much about, what the consumer wants and what they're interested in, but, it's there for them to access easily. So they do a good job with that. And then looking at a smaller company, Spotify, it's similar in the way that they are a music streaming company. You can't purchase music on there. But again, they target a different market of, people that are interested in, they may not want to purchase music, but, they may listen to it at work. They may listen to it on the go. You can listen to it on your handheld device. But again, it's looking at refreshing that model, because before Spotify, people had to depend on, like streaming radio, online, or streaming it through their mobile devices, and that wasn't as good. So what Spotify was able to do was look at, what do consumers need and what do consumers want? They want to be able to, listen to music and, maybe not purchase it, but listen to it in a legal way. They're not, downloading it illegally, but be able to listen to it. So this is what they wanted. And, it's like you're able to log on to Spotify and, have an account, and you can, listen to music as you choose. So definitely trying to bridge together what customers need and want, and then, making it much more of a personalized kind of situation where they feel like, okay, like this is something that is really good. So that's the consumer C. That's the first C. So the second C is about cost. So as I was mentioning earlier, like the first thing that you need to think about when you're talking about cost is you're looking at, addressing the consumer's dilemma between limited funds and unlimited wants. So, you're thinking about, again, from the customer's perspective, how much would they be willing to pay for this? So it's not about, how this is how much we're selling it for. It's how much would they be willing to pay. So, when thinking about implementing this, you need to think about, how it satisfies their willingness to pay a certain amount against the market, because of course you have other competitors. And so you need to think about, well, if I'm charging this much but my competitor is selling it a little bit cheaper, what is going to make them want to purchase it? So that comes about, with thinking about the added value for people. But another thing that you need to think about when incorporating cost is you also would think about, what is the cost to them? What other costs are they going to incur? So again, if you have a physical store, you're thinking about what's the cost to them to get to my store? You're thinking about, what's the cost to them if, they're really passionate about a certain product, what does it mean to them? So you're thinking about, again, from, their perspective. And then it gives you the opportunity to provide more for the same cost, so essentially added value. So as I was saying, if you have a competitor that is selling a similar product or the same type of product at the same price, it's like if you could just add in a little bit more to go along with that purchase for the same price, it's that added value. So it almost makes them feel as if, like, the cost of it is worth it.
I think also on this particular point, the going back to the first C, the consumer and the benefits versus the features, that's where if you can sell the benefit, you can move ahead of your competitor as well. The benefits
definitely
become also part of this.
Definitely. So now we're going to look at two examples of people, companies that are doing this good. So the first one is Britta. I'm sure you've all heard of it, but Britta is a water filtering brand, so that's what they specialize in. And they have different types of products, whether you're on the go or you want something that's more stationary at home, or you can just put it on your faucet at home. But what they were looking at, when this company came about, was it was about obviously the cost of people having to purchase water. so, what they wanted, but then also their needs, because, people don't necessarily they need to purchase water because they don't want to drink tap water necessarily. So they were able to bridge the gap on that. But then it's like when they're looking at the cost feature, it's much more about, for the most part, once you purchase your Brita system, all you need to do is, you refill the filter maybe every 3 or 4 months. So it's like over time, you're actually saving more money. Than if you were going out and buying bottled water. So that was kind of the cost factor that they were able to kind of settle with consumers. So it's making it much more cost efficient for people. And then again, as they have so many different models, you can just take your water bottle on the go, or, you can fill your water bottle at home, but you're saving money over time. So the next example is a smaller business that does something similar, Bobble. They're about 3 or 4 years old. And so what they do, it's similar, but they actually have more portable items that actually have the filter inside of the bottles. So, but it's the same idea, but it's just on a smaller scale. So it's trying to focus on people that are, definitely on the go. Most of their product range is sports bottles, water bottles, and kind of things that people will be bringing to work. So it's definitely for people that are on the go. But then they've kind of stepped it up a little bit, and they focus much more on the style aspect. So most of their bottles are very stylish. So, again, it kind of works in the same way that, you just refill your filter every 3 or 4 months, but it's like you have this stylish bottle that you can just use over and over again. So, it's thinking about, the cost to people for how much they're going to be spending on water, but also about, kind of how it makes them feel, what it means to them, as they're carrying this around.
They have a cute water bottle.
Exactly, cute water bottle. Yeah, so both of these, companies are doing a good job of, thinking about the cost aspects of the 4 C's model. So the third one is convenience, and this is something that I'm sure is important to most people in today's busy age. So, when thinking about convenience, most importantly, you need to focus on when, where, and how customers want to purchase. So, as we've seen, it's no longer about place, where, it's like we have our product in the store, we have it online, and, just thinking that customers will just come to you just because you have it there. It's like you need to think about, when customers are going to be purchasing. So, with particularly online stores, like people can purchase at any time of the day, no matter when. They don't need to worry about, when a store's open. Where they're going to purchase it. So, are you going to be selling products online and in store? Is it just in store? Is it, how are you going to be doing that? Is it through social media? Whatever you're going to be doing, like where are you going to be selling it to reach your customers? And then how, customers want to purchase it. You're not just thinking about, is it going to be online or in retail, but, is it going to be like, are you going to make them pay through PayPal? Some people only feel comfortable doing that. They don't want to put, their credit card online or whatever it is. So thinking about, again, from the customer's perspective, how convenient is it for them to get your product or service? So it emphasizes the accessibility and the ease for the customer. So you want to be able to implement this so that, customers feel like, you should be their first choice because your competitor is not doing this. So, making it accessible and easy for them to be able to feel like they can access your service or your product. It also, too, gives you a chance to explore new ways to connect with customers and distribute products. So, if you have just been selling, let's say, in a brick and mortar store, perhaps you would want to look at the the online retail option and say, this is a chance to reach even more customers. So it gives you a chance to look at and say, where are my customers interested in purchasing it, and how can I make it most convenient for them, for you to try something new as well. And then most importantly, it optimizes the complete customer experience. So, there's nothing like, being able to, particularly go online and, just buy something and know that it's there. So, it's like giving them, an experience, but also, kind of giving them a way to always be able to access what they need. So in looking at 2 examples of companies that do this well, the first one is Safeway. So Safeway is a grocery chain in the U.S., if you didn't know. And, you know, looking at Safeway.com, so their online store, now what they do, and they're one of, you know, one of the only like larger grocery chains that actually do this and do it pretty well, is they do, you know, food delivery, like direct food delivery to you. Now, this is something that, you know, it's become really, really popular in Europe. It's still growing in the U.S., but, you know, more and more people are catching on to it because it's just something that, you know, people are interested in. You know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, we wouldn't have thought of, you know, ordering grocery online. That would have been kind of weird, but, you know, now it's something that's become a little bit more normal. So with Safeway.com, you know, what they offer is, you know, the complete service for it. So, you know, once you log into your account, you have the opportunity to schedule when you want it delivered. So they offer, you know, different types of windows of when you need delivered. So, you know, it's not like a UPS or something that comes whenever they want. You know, you can actually schedule it in for when you're going to be there. And, you know, they have basically whatever you would need like in the store, you know, not just the basic things, but general items, you know, are there, and you can just order them online. And then they'll bring it to you. And then they also offer, you know, along with the convenience as well, is that, you know, if you have anything that is in your order that, you know, is not right, is not fresh, they will actually replace that for you. They'll bring it out for no extra charge. So it's just a really, really, you know, good service that focuses on convenience because, you know, you can save time, you know, from doing your Saturday shop and just, you know, order it and have it brought directly to your door. So it's really useful. And then the second example, which is a small business, well, medium business now, is
it is growing.
Yeah, is Graze.com. So Graze.com is an online snack company. So essentially with them, they have a little under 100 snack items. And what you can do is you can sign up for an account, and then you just have snacks delivered to you, either to work or to your post box at home. You can schedule it how you want. So if you wanted it weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, you can do that. And that's, you know, a really useful service as well. Again, people are thinking like, you know, do I want snacks delivered? But, you know, for one thing, it's like they have a lot of like very healthy snacks. So, you know, if you can't make it to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's during the week, you know that you're going to at least have your Graze box delivered. And, you know, they make it really convenient for you. And again, if you're not happy with something, you can, you know, return it for free and they'll replace it for you with something else. So it's just making it, you know, convenient for people to, you know, have something. You know, everyone likes to snack, and, you know, to be able to have, you know, snacks delivered at least once a week directly to your desk or to your home is just really good. So that's an example. So the last C is communication. So with this, like when people think communication, they think, oh, you know, I'm going to send out an email and that's me communicating with people. Well, it's not like that, you know, anymore. It's much more of an interaction. So, you know, number one, it focuses on connecting with people through emotion. So it's much more about making people feel of value, making them feel like, you know, they are not just another customer, but that they actually mean something to your business. And it also allows you to listen to what the market wants, because again, if you're going to be, you know, on social media or asking for feedback through email, whatever it is, you know, it gives you a chance to get an idea of what people are thinking, not just about your brand, but what they're interested in, because it could lead to, you know, you creating a new product or whatever it is. It also encourages the chance for brand interaction and advocacy. So again, you know, if you're going to be doing a huge social media campaign or even through an email campaign, you know, you're not just doing it just to, you know, kind of put something out there. It's like you want that kind of communication so that people can, you know, talk about it to other people, share it with other people, all those different things that people are doing out in the marketplace. And again, it's two-way communication. You know, that is the key part. So, you know, it's definitely about you know, like having that two-way communication. So you're not just talking to customers as you would be if you were using the 4 Ps, using that promotion, but you're actually, you know, communicating with them. So it's a two-way street. And then it gives you the opportunity to, you know, build and develop relationships. So, you know, you want to see your customers as, you know, not just people that are going to be purchasing from you, but people that, you know, are going to be advocating for your brand, going to be, you know, talking about your brand and helping it grow. So, the two examples for this, the first one is Budweiser. Now, I think particularly Budweiser does an excellent job kind of hitting all the key points of the communication within the 4Cs, particularly on the first one of emotion. You know, with their commercials, particularly over, you know, the past like 4 or 5 years during the Super Bowl, they always come out with, you know, really, really emotional, fun commercial. And so this year what they did was they carried on from kind of what they did last year with the puppy and the beautiful Clydesdale horses. And the campaign was called #Bestbuds. So if you want to look that up later. So, you know,
after the webinar.
Yeah, after the webinar. But, you know, it's much more about, of course, like when the commercial comes on, you know, if you look at it, of course, you immediately know that it's a Budweiser commercial. You know, within the commercial, they have the product placement there of, you know, someone drinking a beer. But again, it's telling the story, and it gets your emotions going. You see this adorable puppy and these beautiful horses, and there's like a storyline of what they're doing. You know, and immediately, you know, they have the #BestBuds, and, you know, there's all these different things going on, and it gets people talking online. You know, there's just, so it's not just about them trying to sell whatever their latest beer is. It's an actual, you know, like a actual campaign that gets people involved, feels like they're relating, and it's like by the time you finish watching the commercial, you actually forget that it's about beer and more that it's about, you know, a cute puppy and some horses. So whether that was their plan or not, it's really, really effective. And, you know, they're definitely a brand that does that well, that keep people talking about their advertisements, and that also too that they also engage with their consumers as well through the right channels to make sure that keeps going. So for the smaller business example, Harpoon's Craft Brewery, they are a Boston-based craft beer brewery, but you know, within the craft beer market, which is, you know, much more boutique and much more specialized, they've done a lot of different, you know, campaigns to get people involved within social media. So one that they have going on now is TheLongThaw. So of course it's fitting because they're based in Boston, so they're freezing up there. But you know, they you know, have engaged, you know, not just people that are local, but people, you know, around the country that know about their product, are interested in craft beers. So one of the things that they've done more recently is with #TheLongThaw. They have people, you know, online, you know, they can send in through Instagram, through Twitter, #LongThaw, and their picture of them, you know, posing with a beer. You know, usually outside. The ones that I've seen have been like, you know, outside in the snow posing with a beer. So it's just, you know, like something that's fun and interactive for people. You know, they've even come out with the TheLongThaw drink line. So that's like a really interesting campaign that they've done, and they do a lot as well, not just around this campaign, but kind of interacting with their consumer base, because again, the craft beer industry, it's a lot smaller, it's a lot more boutique, and so they do a lot of you know, in-house surveys. They send out a lot of samples to people, so it's just a lot of interaction on their part with consumers. And they also do a lot of like feedback things as well to get consumer feedback within the craft beer industry. So they do a good job of it.
I also think that just in general, the more boutique craft beer companies tend to have a really good understanding of how to interact with people through social media. So if you're looking for ideas, you don't have to drink beer. It doesn't have to be your thing. But I think if you go and take a look at what some of these companies are doing on social media, you can find a lot of inspiration. They really do get their followers involved. Yeah. And they do it in a really fun way usually. So I think it's a great place to get some inspiration.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely check that out after the webinar. Okay, so to summarize what we've talked about today, the first tip, of course, is, you know, thinking about the fact that marketing tools like the 4Cs, you know, maybe even a little bit of the 4Ps, you know, any type of marketing tool, you know, it helps to add value to your overall business strategy. So, you know, yes, like you're doing all the right things with the email and the PPC and the social media, but, you know, adding in the use of these marketing tools helps to paint a bigger picture for you, and it also helps you to, particularly with the 4 C's, think about it more from what the consumer wants, because obviously, you know, as a business owner, you're thinking about what you want and what you want for your business, but you need to think about what your consumer wants and needs, so that you can help them so that they want to buy from you. Okay, and then the next part kind of leads on from that. So again, the 4 C's, as we've seen, is much more about the customer. So the traditional 4 P's was much more about the business. This is what we have. This is our product. Whereas the 4 C's is strictly about, you know, the consumer or the customer, thinking about what they want, what their needs are, how you can provide that for them. The next point is to consider, you know, how you can incorporate each of these elements, you know, individually. You can, you know, try them all at once, but, you know, even if you could just add, you know, start adding them in individually, you'll probably, you know, you're going to see a huge difference in, like, you know, how you think about your overall strategy. And again, it's just going to go back to, you know, you having the chance to think about, well, you know, like, do I need to refresh my products? Do I need to think about, you know, some other ways of, you know, trying to get my products out there, my business out there? So that's the third point. And then the last point I just want to make is that, you know, you can draw inspiration, as we've seen, from all spectrums of business. So, you know, looking at the bigger models, you know, you think, oh, you know, it's so big. But then as you've been able to see, there are smaller and medium businesses that are doing it, you know, in a similar way, just on a smaller scale that works for their market. So, you know, definitely try to pull inspiration from, you know, any aspects of business, particularly within your industry. So here are some resources for you. There's just a couple here. So the first one is businessbee.com, and they're really good at, like, explaining models really well. So, you know, they have, I linked you directly to the 4 C's, but, you know, they have more in detail about, you know, 4 C's, 4 P's, brand wheel, just a lot of different useful models that you know, should definitely be checking out and trying to add into your business as you go along. The next one is Get Busy Media. Now, they're strictly a business blog, but again, they offer lots of kind of in-depth, more research and case study ideas centered around business models and marketing models. So, you know, definitely check that out as well. And then the last one is Mind Tools. Now, they focus more on marketing strategy ideas, so it's much more about, you know, branding and marketing in general. But that should be really useful to you as well, particularly looking at how they've helped people kind of implement the 4 C's into their business.